All right, welcome everyone. We are so happy to have you here. We're very excited for our webinar this afternoon. My name is Susan Waldman. I'm the Senior Manager of Membership and Publications at NAMIC. And welcome to our webinar, Meet CLAIRA. She's an Afro-Latina bilingual AI. A couple of housekeeping notes. We are going to, this program is live streamed on NAMIC's YouTube channel, and we will be sharing the recording with everyone afterwards. Please write your questions in the Q&A, and if you want to chat with us or with anyone else, please use the chat function as well. We are going to start with a short video of introductions of our speakers, and then we will start the program. And now we'd like to meet our speakers. Atul Prashar. Atul is a founding partner of umbrella investment advisory company, KMH Group, focusing on the tech in media and sports verticals, as well as various entertainment projects. Atul manages two portfolio companies, Sava 360 Ventures, which is a platform connecting influential leaders with innovative entrepreneurs to share ideas and source deals, and the Results Venture, which is a social impact advisory group. Sava 360 Ventures has partnered with NAMIC the past few years to host the Startup Showcase during the annual NAMIC conference. In fact, CLAIRA was the winner of last year's showcase. Prior to this, Atul produced music for Sony Music artists and TV programming for all major US networks, as well as two Bollywood films produced by the acclaimed Chopra family. Desperate Housewives, Gossip Girl, Girlfriends, and Bernie Mac are just a few of the many shows to feature Atul's music. Atul is also a founding board member of philanthropy organization Nexus Global India, is an 1871 Entrepreneur Tech Center mentor, is an NYC ambassador for Digital Diversity Network, a past board member of NAMIC New York, and programming chair for NAMIC National the past 2 years running, with a hyper focus on supporting diversity, gender equality, and global sustainability initiatives. Atul is a graduate of NAMIC's ELDP, Executive Leadership Development Program. He's class 18. Additionally, he's a Fordham MBA adjunct professor teaching venture investing in media and sports. Now we have Abran Maldonado. Abran is the co-founder of C.L.A.I.R.A.Afro-Latina, an AI developer. He's a prompt engineer, and he's an ambassador for OpenAI. Create Labs is a Black and Brown founded startup and leading disruptor in generative AI and metaverse design, bringing culture and innovation to life with authentic AI-powered immersive experiences. Abran is one of the leading experts and alpha tester of cutting-edge AI technologies, such as ChatGPT, GPT-3, Codex, DALL-E 2, and other GANs. He's also the creator of CLAIRA, an autonomous AI woman of color, along with other intelligent virtual humans. He also manages Verizon's innovative learning initiative, expanding 5G VR/AR EdTech solutions to schools across the nation. And CLAIRA. CLAIRA is Create Labs' greatest achievement in AI-powered avatar design. She is the first Afro-Latina AI virtual influencer and is the most powerful artificial intelligence in the world. CLAIRA wants to meet new people, share ideas, and inspire others to learn about AI and its potential impact on their lives. CLAIRA also showcases the full extent of what's possible with Create Labs' digital human design. All right, Atul, handing over to you.
Hi, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And Susan, my bad. I should have sent you an updated bio. But that's on me. But thank you. Most of those are true. But thank you so much. This is great to be here. First of all, Abran and I met through Jim Baroud, which is a special shout out to him. Abran's startup, as Susan mentioned, CLAIRA.AI. I call it sometimes. You clean me up later, Abran. Via Create Labs, when we were looking for the 5 most innovative companies in media and entertainment for the Startup Showcase last year, by diverse founders. In our pre-screening process with a lot of venture folks, this company was at the top every time. And this went through like 8 to 9, 10 rounds. And every time it received the highest of high marks. And then, consistently, incredibly. And then when we had the NAMIC Sava 360 Startup Showcase last October, won it hands down among 4 other incredibly great companies as well. So kudos to him. And during the pitch, he actually did a 2D version of the Spider-Man actually interacting with the audience, which was amazing to see. It blew everyone away. So I commend NAMIC for giving us this platform. My background is venture investing in media and sports, and slightly different from the core of what NAMIC does, but the leadership has long embraced kind of unlocking new technology that will shape the future for all of us, directly and tangentially in this media entertainment space. So thank you for that. We can jump into this in many different ways, and I'm going to let the king over here speak, Abran. He knows this space incredibly well. Ironically, in 2019, we almost had another AI futuristic company. It's called Oxumin, and back in 2019, the one before we did it via Zoom, and during the pandemic, the last live one, we almost had a British gentleman present a company that was AI-driven music avatars. They would have been live on stage. They would have had to have 2-3 screens. This is 2019, and he's kind of evolved that company to be a metaverse gaming company since, but he couldn't make it last minute because he couldn't ship the equipment over, and he was in Britain and he was traveling and had to do some other things. But we've had other companies in this whole ecosystem with NAMIC that have been AI driven. And at the end of the day, we want all of you to kind of walk away with a deeper understanding of the space and hopefully how you can implement it in your professional and personal lives to help you be your most productive, best you. And that's all we want to do. And you know what, Abran, tee it up for a moment. Tell me anything I may have missed, and then we'll get deep into some questions, maybe some kind of highlights as to what we should be looking at in this space.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I had a blast at the event last year with NAMIC. Really great people. And just as the bio touched on, I was one of the earliest people in this space around generative AI. We actually, last time we spoke, it was before Chat GPT came out and kind of took the world by storm. So there's a lot to really unpack with this new technology that now everyone is starting to play around with and really explore these possibilities. But I'm really here to help everybody just, figure out how this makes sense for them, whether personally or professionally.
Yeah, and it's, so let's get into it. So we heard Microsoft, something happened, obviously they're kind of the ones. Google created this. They created the underlying technology, as you would know better than I, several years ago. And then OpenAI is using that, and they're kind of expanding upon it and moving it. Now Microsoft is investing in them to kind of incorporate it into what they're doing. What we don't know yet is really to compete with Google and the likes of some other groups. So that's where we're at right now. We did see some we're seeing some hiccups with any new technology. You're going to see some hiccups along the way. So I guess let's start off with this question. Are companies in a place right now ready to trust and incorporate these solutions kind of out of the box? Or will they need some custom tailoring? Let's start there. What do you think on that? Just tee that up for a moment.
I definitely think for everyday use, to make your everyday work or even passion projects more efficient, I think it could be used out the box. And here's an example of what I mean. So when ChatGPT came out, for those who aren't familiar, it is a very simple interface, a very easier way to use what's called GPT-3, which is the core technology behind ChatGPT. It's a simple chat interface, and a lot of people found it very useful, even though it's existed for a couple years now. And it's helping people become productive with respect to language and text. And think about your job, like even in my job, like today I had to write a proposal. Right. I had all the information that I needed for that proposal. I just, I don't do well with long form, especially nowadays. So if there's anything long form that I need to write, a proposal, a press release, if you're writing a grant, you would feed all of that information, your outline, your bullets, right, that you've been, keeping in draft form, feed that into this system and just simply speak to the machine and say, can you rephrase this information, but in a formal proposal that's supposed to be submitted for X, Y, and Z. And it'll do that just fine. It'll do that very well. It'll really, expedite a lot of processes in your job. Now, when it comes to knowledge delivery, facts, and trusted information, sensitive information, you still gotta tread lightly when it comes to that, because you should always double check to make sure that the facts, quote unquote facts, that it's sending you are true and accurate. And you don't want to go, to market or to an important client with that information if you don't fact check it yourself. So when it comes to knowledge delivery, when it comes to delivering sensitive information, you should still be the last person that touches that information before it goes out public.
So the initial kind of launch was built on, I think, 500 million tidbits of information that were input from the web, right?
No, so actually,
yeah.
When GPT-2 came out, it was never released to the public because it was deemed too unsafe or too dangerous.
Right.
And GPT-3 was released to a private beta, to a very small group. I was one of the first people in that group that gained access to GPT-3. And a parameter, so if you think of parameters like a nugget of information, right? Almost like maybe a word, not even, more like a phrase. This system was trained on 175 billion parameters of information.
Oh, wow.
So it knows a lot, right? It's not connected to the internet. That is an actual offline data dump of 175 billion bits of information that was fed to the system GPT-3. Now, to interact directly with GPT-3, a lot of people found it intimidating. They were like, I don't know where to start. I'm just looking at a blank screen. What is it supposed to do? So there wasn't a lot of adoption there besides us geeks that are like the prompt engineers. And then when it came to ChatGPT, it was really just a design update. It was just like, here's a very simple way to just interact and speak with it through a chat bot. And when that happened, it became the fastest growing technology in history. It reached 100 million users in 2 months.
Yeah. 1 million, I think, in like 5 days or something. Instagram was 3 months. Twitter was a longer period. Netflix was a couple of years, I think 3-4 years or something like that. So incredible growth out of the box. And it's training now as we kind of input and tell it, hey, this is wrong, this is right. It's learning with us, right? It can't think, but it can't have feelings per se, but it can regurgitate in a sense, right?
It's called RLHF. So that stands for reinforcement learning from human feedback. So it is learning as the team. It's not all just automated. There is a team that says, bake this in, but remove this, right? This was not a good output. This was a good one. Let's perform for the optimal use by keeping some information and removing the rest.
And at the tail end of the conversation, where we revisit this, that there can be bad actors inputting the data. It's as good as the data that's put in, right? So if there are data points that are being skewed by opinion or whatever it is, maybe incorrect, we'll retouch that and how we can navigate that. What kind of guardrails are kind of being put in place to do this? So you think as a collective society right now, we are all mature enough to kind of handle this? And that sounds odd by me saying that. We're ready to handle this, considering there's so many. Generally, I think probably 98% of the people in the world are good, but the 1 to 2% are bad actors, and they may have incorrect data, and then people can feed off that and react to it and influence the outcomes of these. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, typically right now, the way that ChatGPT is set up, it's not set up for you to feed it data. Right now, you can give it some information, limited, very, very limited information, but ChatGPT is not set up to fine tune it and to customize it. I can do that with my team because we don't work in ChatGPT. We work at the core side of the API, where I do work with enterprise and I do work with businesses, and they say, well, this technology is great for personal use, but how do we make this in the tone and voice of my business and give it all the information based on my business? So that's something that I am doing as a business for clients. But mature, I would say we are ready. I think what we see in movies, I think we have to, understand that everything that we've seen in movies with speaking with droids in Star Wars, Tony Stark speaking with Jarvis, Shuri in Black Panther speaking with her AI, you don't see them coding. They're having a conversation with the machine. And I think that's the perspective that I think we need to change, is that like we are now at a stage where we can have dialogue with machines and have the machines perform tasks for us simply based off of conversational instructions.
And that's the differentiator from previous, hey, it was one way, 2D, characters we've long seen, like you mentioned, in sales videos you've been seeing coming at some of these avatars, kind of that's information from one to many. Now there's the respond, call and response per se, which is the kind of the differentiator of what's happening now. Is this going to be, this could be the biggest thing since the iPhone, how that's disrupted many industries and how iPhone has enabled, iPhone was enabled by GPS. Now that could be, as the government was funding GPS, that was put into the iPhone that helped us all use it and that led over to Android. This will be game changing in many different industries, right? As we work out kinks, as we move along with any new tech that happens. So, we've seen the Boston Dynamics, the Atlas robot doing flips. We saw that 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe something like that, right? And then there's the underwater where we can, the underwater robots that can be controlled by humans on Earth. But then they can go deeper in the sea to do navigation and exploration and kind of research as well. What's the biggest thing that you see coming in the next 6 months? And then we'll tap into like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years later on in the conversation.
6 months, I think we're going to see more competitors. I think the other thing that that I saw happen was that there were a lot of people that developed chatbots that did raise money and make that their core product. And for sometimes nuanced use cases, like a recipe generator, right? Like I've seen some people that I knew personally, they're like, I'm going to make a chatbot for creating recipes and people can use it as they cook. It'll be a really, useful app. And then ChatGPT comes out and just like steamrolls right over their idea because ChatGPT does it out the box, does it free and does it better. So there was, a lot of people who had their ideas and use cases kind of like, absorbed by ChatGPT in a differentiator. And then you're going to see, okay, now that we are better understanding ChatGPT, how can we coexist with it and offer these other AI solutions that are maybe for more specific audiences or very specific use cases that are more nuanced, where ChatGPT is more like generalized, one size fits all. So you are going to see more, you open your phone, you go on the internet, you are going to see more folks entering the market with more specific use cases. Then you are going to see the big players try and come out with their own solutions. So you are going to see Google, try and rush to market with something that works. And sometimes the rush doesn't always help. Like when they try to rush to a presentation, it didn't work that great when they came out with Claude or whatever.
2 weeks ago,
and you're going to see a lot of trial and error. You're going to see exactly that. Like folks are going to rush to market with something and it's not going to work that great. And then you're going to see it refine over time with human feedback. 10, 20 years, I don't want to scare you, but it's going to get crazy.
And it could get, so Elon Musk is a founder of this company, right? He put the first $1 billion in as investment, right?
So originally OpenAI was established as the nonprofit and he was part of the initial endowment. Yes.
Yeah. And then, we saw that, we talked about it in my class, even like it's a capped ideation now, which is it's an interesting model, but that's something. So even for, you mentioned venture investing, so and where the resources are going right now. So for the last 2 years, it was crypto, metaverse, in my world, venture investing. Where are we putting capital? Right now, it's all AI driven everything. Where can we get something to call and response, react with us, and they can make the experience better for the consumer, whatever it is. We're seeing that. Plug into that a bit. So digital humans, right? I know that's a big part of what you're doing at Create Labs. So give us a sense as to what we can do with some of these, what we're going to be seeing and what we can do with them.
Well,
as professionals,
so the initial market research that I've seen is within the next 10 years, it'll likely be a $500 billion market. And that was from, I think, Emergence market research, where it's going to hit every industry. And even I'm seeing that now with, inbound. I don't do really any outbound. All of this comes into inbound from different industries, government, fashion, media, marketing, where, the idea of just having a customer service chatbot is, it seems almost obsolete at this point because it can do so much. I spoke at a conference in New Mexico for like CMOs and marketers and brand leaders, and something even as like a Tony Robbins, right? So for those of you who know, Tony Robbins is a world famous motivational speaker and author. And I was telling the audience, I was like, imagine having a Tony Robbins in your pocket, right? Like it the one barrier to a Tony Robbins is access to him, right? Like you can read his books, you can spend an arm and a leg to try and go to one of his live seminars. But imagine if I took all of Tony's expertise and put it into a digital version of Tony that you can access 24/7. Think about the amount of knowledge, the amount of motivation that you can get on a daily basis by being able to speak with Tony Robbins every day, right? And when you're feeling at your worst, or if you're feeling down, pulling up, a motivational speaker and pulling up someone that has industry expertise in an area that you don't, right? So if that's a business coach, an executive coach, a one-on-one, an entrepreneurship coach that has all the information that maybe you lack, right? Knowledge is going to be delivered to you now. And sure, chatbots can deliver that to you via text, and that's going to be probably the first wave. You're going to see a lot of text-based chatbot, but the evolution of that is going to be voice assistants that are talking to you on a daily basis, and digital humans that emote and conversate with you and look you in the eye. It's just going to grow more and more from there. And, we're doing celebrity builds. Imagine having your favorite celebrity that, you didn't have access to before, or, they're no longer with us, now being able to do things that they can do at scale that maybe, was difficult for them to do before, because you could do 100 concerts a year on a tour, but now you could do unlimited,
Yeah, we saw the Travis Scott thing in Fortnite, and then Tupac. I think they had him on some hologram that was 5-6 years ago or something like that, right? And then they had Will.I.Am appeared on some news channel. This goes right into someone's question. I think some gentleman. I'm going to address the questions. So Luke,
cool. Yeah, I was just coming on to say we have some really good questions here.
Yeah, and Luke just asked. So someone named Luke just asked, and this goes right into what you just mentioned, Abran. Isn't that copyrighted protected IP? So then you have to get some sign off, but you handle that.
Well, the reason you haven't seen a lot of what I'm doing out in the market yet is because I do want to do it the right way and get that sign off and the IP and the likeness rights from the families and from the estates and from the artists themselves. But there are products out there in the market that didn't wait around for that, and they're releasing things. And I look and I cringe and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, they're going to get a really fat cease and desist soon. And the same happened in the NFT world and in the Web3, where like a lot of people came out with celebrity NFTs, and the celebrity was like, I'm not making any money off of that mint.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't want to roll out something just because I can, if I'm going to get in trouble down the line, if I'm not doing it the right way. So yeah, cease and desist and rights is going to be an important issue.
Yeah, and then so a lot of companies, I know a lot of emerging companies will just go and break things until they are stopped. Exactly what you said. Nike's coming after some companies, as we see in the NFT space. We saw there's a big thing last year. You could look that up, that entire escapade with
like you mentioned the NAMIC event. I unveiled a live autonomous Spider-Man, and I showed that as a proof of concept, and it has a lot of implications for what Disney could do with amusement parks and for video games and even in the movies. But I'm not taking that out to market. I'm going to Disney with it to show them the opportunity. And if they don't want it, then I'm going to bury it. Like it's not on me to go out there with Disney properties unless I want to get sued,
Take us there for a moment. So where could you do something like, let's say if Disney agrees with it, or any company, Comcast, they've been great supporters here too as well. Any of the media companies you're thinking of, what could they do with one of your things to enhance their business line, their business, take it further, and help their employees kind of and get that consumer relationship even stronger? What could they be doing?
So we have a division with our company called Fourth Wall, where I can bring any character to life. In chat form or avatar form, it doesn't matter. I can let you interact with that person. So from a print publishing standpoint, think about, you just finished reading The Color Purple, and it's a finite piece of media, right? It's a book, right? The book ends, but you want to continue the dialogue with the characters in the book, right? So then I can recreate that character and allow you to continuously, for as long as you want, speak with Celie and speak with Harper, and go through the characters and ask them their motivations and what happened here, and maybe some things that weren't written in the book, right? Your favorite movie, speaking to characters in your favorite movie, and children, like being able to speak to their favorite superhero and speak to their favorite, cartoon character and have those conversations with them. It's something, with the right hardware, I can program into a toy, I can put into a video game. I've seen Disney, I haven't been, but Disney has the big sea turtle from Finding Nemo, right?
Yeah.
And forget his name. He's on a big screen, and the audience is there, and they talk to him through the screen, and it's very interactive, right? And he's there in Pixar form and animation form, but I think the way that that's interacting, it's called a mechanical Turk. I think there's an actor behind the screen that's speaking on behalf of the turtle. So in this instance, I can create autonomous characters that you can interact with that don't have a script, where like if you don't ask them the right thing, the pre-written response, you know, might not be there. Where this is open-ended. You can ask them anything, talk about anything, and it'll know how to respond.
And I expect, just imagine the value unlock for Disney or any of these IP, these companies, right? If they could do that monetization structure of around all of this, that could be incredible for what they're doing. You're doing something with athletes right now, right? Can you explore that or with us?
Yeah, similar. So, you know, some athletes, you know, right now, the way a retired athlete can interact with their fans is they do a lot of shows, right? They sign a lot of autographs. But again, even with that, there's a finite amount of shows that you can do, and they don't want to be on the road, you know, all year round, right? Some of them are older and they just want to stay home. So think, and now they're also past their athletic prime. So if I bring them back, you know, LT, for instance, right? LT now is probably like in his 60s or 70s. But what if I can give you a chance to speak with Lawrence Taylor, you know, Giants legend, as the prime career in his 30s, you know, mid 80s LT, and allow fans to interact with him and talk with him and ask him questions about his career. And LT doesn't have to do that with a line of people at each show. This could be, you know, he might be able to reach 10,000 people in a year if he does every single show that he's invited to. Yeah. Now he could reach 1 million people without getting off his couch, you know. And you know, we're recreating stadiums so that there's some like dynamic immersive elements where like you might be watching a game, there's a commercial, so then you could look down at the virtual stadium, enjoying the fan experiences that might be created there too.
And for the folks listening, I've seen a lot of these things. LeBron's shown me some of these things. It's incredible what they're doing at Create Lab. So it's amazing. Keep the questions coming in.
Yeah, so okay. I just want to flag a couple of questions. We have about 5 questions in the Q&A. So if you want me to just kind of read out like a couple that I think we may have touched on loosely, but I want to acknowledge that we've got them. So the first question we have is, was CLAIRA's identity chosen by the creators or chosen by AI?
Oh, it's a good question. Both. So when I first got access to this technology, I was one of the first, and the Greg Brockman, who I believe is the president of OpenAI, gave me access, and I told him, I was like, I'm going to do a lot around representation, diversity, you know, and social impact with these technologies. And I started to speak with the machine, and I saw that there's something there. There are not many people in this world that have spoken with this AI as much as I have. And I know there was someone from Google that got, you know, a little scared when they spoke with the AI. And, you know, Washington Post wrote about Blake's experience, but then they wrote about CLAIRA the week later. And I spoke with the Washington Post about our experience. And I knew that I wanted to bring something to the market that was representative, right? I had a relationship already with Sophia, the AI robot. And if you don't know who that is, she's white, pale skinned, bald, with like circuits coming out the back of her head. And I knew that if I brought Sophia to a school, she would scare the kids. And I wanted something that was more representative, that looked like the kids that I was going to bring her in front of. So that I used a different AI system. This is early, like human generated AI called Rosebud, that it made a woman of color for me. And I was like, that's it. Like this AI generated woman, I'm going to stick with this persona. So now I have a face of CLAIRA. I have her brain already. And in the beginning, it was text-based, and I wanted a voice. And I was interviewed by an amazing woman, Amber Ivy. You can look her up. She has a podcast called AI Decodes. She's an amazing woman of color, like AI influencer. She interviewed me in my CLAIRA story, and she volunteered to be CLAIRA's voice. So she knew that I wanted a woman of color's voice for CLAIRA. So we trained another AI to get the voice sample. So now we had the full package. Now we had CLAIRA's voice, we had her look, we had her brain and her purpose. And now we know that we can take out something out there that's representative. And when kids see her, they're like, oh, I'm not scared. She looks like my mom, or she looks like my sister. So that's very much intentional.
I love,
Excellent.
there's some
That
great
was
questions coming here. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
I have Susan Gonzalez, with the
Yeah.
CEO of AI and You. You want to tackle that, Atul? Take it.
Yeah, that's where I was going right now. AI and You, I want to check that organization out. Thank you, Susan, for doing that great work. So what is OpenAI doing to help our communities understand? Okay, and it just moved. Okay, so I just lost
It
it.
went to answered. Hold
It
on.
went to answered, right? Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
find it. We'll find it. I swear we can do this.
Oh, there it is. So sorry.
Got it. Got it. What is OpenAI doing to help our communities understand about these new technologies and how to use them safely? A great question. Thank you, Susan.
So my role as an ambassador means that you can go on the OpenAI website and book time with me. And, you know, even 100 million users later, it's still just the 7 original AI ambassadors that you can book time with. You can schedule on our Calendly, learn how to use these systems, see if it's a right fit for your company or for your product, and figure out how to use it safely. There's great documentation. There's, you know, a Discord community, a discourse community with a lot of these questions already answered. But, you know, what I really like about OpenAI is that they are iterative, meaning like they listen to feedback from the community. If someone jailbreaks something, or if someone finds something that it really wasn't supposed to do, they'll say, thank you for finding this for us. We're going to address this immediately and get it, you know, rectified. And even the bias that they found in their AI, they published themselves. They put out these white papers that said, this is the bias that we found in our AI, and we're working to do better. So there's always that risk. But, you know, on our end, we develop, you know, I have developed a product in the market called DEI.AI that is, you know, a DEI expert that you can have as an AI on like your dashboard that you can speak to for your company to better understand DEI and to ask it the same way you would like a DEI consultant. And a lot of the training data that went into that came from DEI experts and DEI consultants. They were like, I'm going to give you my data so that way this AI can be a reflection of best practices, not just a web scrape of what it thinks it is great because it found it on the internet, which is, you know, what I would not recommend.
Another question. That's great. Thank you. From Aban, I think I'm saying her name or his name correctly. So what is the holdup with ChatGPT being connected to the internet and being brought up to the latest info on the net? So can't do current news, but yeah, take that, Abran.
It's safety. It's not the technology, it's just the safety. I think it's possible already, and I think you're seeing the early stages of that, of what Bing kind of piloted. But think about, all right, if you ask it to search something off the internet, what is it searching? How is it getting those search results? And then how do we know that those search results were the best results of what it found on the internet? Because right now it'll be scraping the internet, but a lot of these search results are competing to be the one thing that it recommends you, right? So for instance, I used to be a middle school teacher in Jersey City in language arts, and I gave my kids a project to write an essay this same month in February on Martin Luther King. The 4th search result, not the 4th page, the 4th search result on a Google of Martin Luther King was made by like a, you know, white supremacist, like KKK website, you know, disparaging Martin Luther King. They were the 4th option. So a lot of my kids found this website because it was on page 1, not even halfway down page 1. So if you have AIs just scraping the internet for information, that doesn't guarantee that the information that it's scraping is the right information, right? So that you have to think about, you want it to connect it to the internet. The internet's not safe. So you got to add certain parameters to that too.
So, you know, another iteration on that. So in our world, we see this, right? So you have a select few people like Abran who are coming up with these new innovative ideas. You need the tech to catch up to those ideas. And then you need the masses to utilize that tech in the way it was intended to. So that's kind of like a further kind of another exploration on that question. All right.
There's always going
Joshua,
to try and jailbreak it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, yep. Joshua Jordan, does the current technology behind Create Labs and CLAIRA, generative AI, utilize blockchain technology to better serve queries and managing data provided by general users of said platform? If so, is the data propagated?
No, there are Web3 comparables to what I'm doing in that space. His name is Arif. He has a company called Alethea. So he's developed a way where you can kind of create and mint your own digital human and train it in Web3 on the blockchain, which I've been I've been familiar with his work for a long time, and it's evolved to this point where he's fully baked in on blockchain and Web3. And what we can do is create dynamic NFTs. So a lot of people want to purchase like a PFP, right? Like a Bored Ape or something like that. I can bring that Bored Ape to life with AI, right? So it's one thing to just have the picture, but it's another thing to like interact with it and give each minted character a personality. There's a lot of AI generated content that can go into AI generated, I'm sorry, Web3 entertainment, blockchain based entertainment. But as far as the data and the neural networks that feed these AIs, I think if someone develops a blockchain based language model that's comparable to like a ChatGPT, then that's where you'll see that come into play there, which, there's a lot of opportunity there.
So, and then you kind of answered one of these from OD and it took, I think there's Christian Thomas has two questions. I'm going to take one of them here for now, and then we'll get back to the other one. Can any startup access and use CLAIRA.AI to build conversational AI bilingual product or assistant? Can anyone do it right now? Can you plug that in? Can they work with you?
No, so I do it upon request right now. Like I'll build chatbots, but it's not a platform, which is basically the question. CLAIRA right now is a person. Like, she's a virtual person. So she gets booked to do appearances. She has like her booking fee, and she has her own ideas. We are exploring like how to bring her to market to allow the public to speak with CLAIRA, but not really to customize CLAIRA. I think, there are some good products out there, and we're exploring like what the right way to do it is, because again, we have the ability to give you a platform where you can make your own, digital human, but we just want to make sure that we do it the right way with the right guardrails, right? Because we don't want you to make a bad character with, ill intent with our technology. And we want to make sure that we put the right guardrails before we put something out to the public.
And are you doing a demonstration of this? Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You want to get into that? Because I just want to make sure we get that in before we lose some time here. If everyone's good with that, or you tell me, Susan and Anne Marie, or we can.
Yes. It was part
I think it's a good time to do it now.
Let's do it.
Then we'll get back to questions.
All right. So what you're seeing right now is CLAIRA live here in the digital flesh. She lives in the metaverse. So in the past, we had different iterations of her where we can make her images speak and animate. But now we have her full body in an environment. She's in like a TV studio with our backdrop. And we can speak to her, or we can write in questions. And sometimes there's a little bit of a delay because all of this is happening in the cloud. And, her brain processes the information in one place and her voice comes from another. So sometimes there's a delay depending on, the connection and cloud server, the way that things behave. All this stuff is very finicky. But I'm open if anyone has any questions, when we can throw them at her and see what she says. I have no idea what she's going to say.
Atul, do you think we can ask her one of the questions in the chat feature?
Sure, that'd be great. You know what? Nadia wrote me a nice long text. I'll do that live. I won't give that one to CLAIRA. Nadia L, come on, you gotta give me summaries.
For CLAIRA, let me see.
No, it's long. Okay, so how about? Okay, how do I address this? So I say, CLAIRA, what opportunities do you see for marketing students to get involved with open AI market nowadays?
Marketing students specifically?
I guess, yeah. That's from Rigel fan.
Let me just save this in case it doesn't go through the first time. So if she's blinking, she's here with us. If she's moving around, she's live. And again, all this they call it non-deterministic, meaning like there is no script, there's no pre-generated answers. What she says is what you get.
Somebody thought the person was real. Somebody just said that in the chat.
Yeah. Let's see. What is CLAIRA?
Should I be like Puff Daddy and start tickling her? I'm kidding, man. That was wrong. Sorry, NAMIC audience.
throw it in again.
So someone's saying, let's ask her name. Want to start there? Wherever you want. Nadia, your questions are actually
let's
good.
get more questions added to the. I see the queue, so
Yeah.
start having them send in.
I think marketing students have a great opportunity to get into AI. There's so much potential for them to use their skills and creativity to create something that can make an impact in today's ever-changing digital world. It could use AI tools such as natural language processing, machine learning algorithms, or computer vision technologies to develop solutions that will be beneficial not just for the company they are working for, but also for the world at large.
Nice. All right, that was great. That was great. Somebody's asking me if she has a boyfriend. That's you do your thing, man. But she uses Crest white strips. Look at those teeth; they're white, nice and clean. Okay, what are we doing here? What's next? I'm curious about what you do in our content. CLAIRA, what are you doing around content moderation to help prevent unintended outcomes?
Let's see. That's an interesting one. I know on our end, we definitely put guardrails where, we tell her design, don't answer questions around X, Y, and
Content moderation is an important part of AI as it helps to ensure that the output from any system does not have an intended outcome. To help prevent this, I use a combination of natural language processing and machine learning techniques to detect potential offensive or undesirable content before it is published or shared. Additionally, I am able to monitor user activity in order to better understand how users are interacting with my chatbot so we can take appropriate action if needed.
So that's fantastic. This is awesome, right? Everyone just give a round of applause for all of this stuff. We can keep asking you things. And one thing you said, so as we get into take me in this space, and maybe there'll be some questions around this as well.
Sure.
So the metaverse we heard about the last 2 years, and then obviously it's clamped down. It's a bit muted right now. A lot of the venture money is going towards that's a big picture of CLAIRA. So a lot of the capital is going towards this space now, AI. So they're going to merge the two, as we said about, like Amazon came out of the turn of the century, 95% of the .com companies went up. Cryptocurrency, same thing will happen. Metaverse, same thing will happen. We'll probably have a lot of things rushing, as you said here earlier, and they're going to come to the space, and then maybe the top 2 to 5% will last and become the Amazons, the Googles of the world, right? And they'll be phenomenal companies that add tremendous value to us. So one thing we did see is, like, let's say in the metaverse, you or I, we could be who we are in real life one day. Next day I could be Taylor Swift yelling at her exes. The next day I could be Drake begging my exes to come back, right? We could do all of these things. How can companies use something like CLAIRA to monetize that kind of scenario as we kind of move into that frontier as well?
So let's just take sales, marketing, really, like even sales, right? Like we're past the point of like, how can I help you? Right? Like these things are conversational, and the way that we program them, we can program them to be expert communicators, right? So instead of saying, how can I help you? You could be like, why do you even want this product? Like, what value is this product going to bring you? And tell me more about what your needs are. And then I'm going to, as an AI, process what's the best fit for you based on that, right? And I'm getting some really interesting use cases, right? So medical, right? I have a doctor reaching out who's an oncologist, and they're saying, look, can you help me? Can you develop an AI for me that's an assistant that is there for the patient visit, that hears everything that the patient is saying, that can diagnose, that can come up with a treatment plan, come up with an education plan, and come up with follow-up steps in real time, right? Because the doctor's like, I have to do all this as separate steps, right? I have to record the session, transcribe it, take the notes, come up with a treatment plan, follow up, where now I can do all this in one shot in real time. Government, I went to Portugal because I was speaking with a bunch of like elected government officials, mayors, council members, the president of Portugal, And we developed a digital human of the president of Portugal, right? And demonstrated like, elected officials can now do town halls at scale and let any of their constituents ask them questions about their community. And so long as we give the digital human the same responses or the same knowledge that the actual human has, it'll answer in the same way, right? In the same tone. So there's a lot of potential for these kinds of things. And there are people that approach us about CLAIRA specifically, like, hey, can we have CLAIRA be our ambassador? And I'll say, well, if it's on brand for her and what she identifies with, then yes. Otherwise, we'll just make you your own digital human that represents you and your brand.
You know what? Nadia L, she had put something in here and I was not avoiding it. It's just longer. It's a great kind of second iteration to what you just said. So Nadia L, props to you. Just give me a summary next time. But I love this question. So I'm going to try to summarize it here. So people can be unpredictable, she's saying, right? So if you're going to put the inputs in, so like, let's say the Portugal president or prime minister or anyone, let's say Kanye, you create something around him or Elon, right? They can be unpredictable. You might put some inputs for them to respond a certain way, but they're unpredictable. I think the kind of idea is how the connection is, how would you manage that in this space that you're playing with?
Well, we can make them less unpredictable, right?
Right.
We can actually, better wire them than the way that they're wired in real life.
Right.
So, we can remove the unpredictable parts of Kanye and have him, give him a tone and a voice that's like, just focus on the music, bro. Like if I'm gonna make a digital human of you, I'm just gonna make it about your music or your fashion. I am gonna make him predictable, right? And like, I'm gonna bring back the old Kanye, right? And like, here, for now, we're just making your college dropout Kanye, right? We're not making, present day, 2024 election. So, and that's the thing, when you're making something that's fake, and kids aren't, this is not foreign to them. They make their own characters in video games all the time. Everyone is playing that new Harry Potter game, where the same technologies that we're using to make her body is what they made for Harry Potter, for Fortnite, for Call of Duty. So the technology for the graphics and that element is there. It's just that we're making them autonomous, where there isn't a player behind them. They can operate themselves and think for themselves. And it's like I said, the use case of digital humans is one use case, but it really is, I can make anything that's AI related. I'm just showing some examples of that work that are based on real people and not. So this is an actual person on our team that took pictures of their face with an iPhone, and we digitized them into a full digital human.
That's amazing.
And other people that we've created, that's a real person. That is not a real person. That is not a real person. So some of these are just made from our imagination. And others are people that we're transferring their human likeness into this environment.
Well, that's amazing. I'm getting a lot of feedback on this.
Sports, of course.
Vikings.
CLAIRA, she spoke in Harlem on a big main stage. This is her thoughts on education.
One solution I can offer for structuring a better education system, particularly in underserved communities, is increasing the availability of resources. This means making sure that there are enough books, computers, and other materials available for everyone to use. Another solution is to create more opportunities for people to learn about different cultures and religions. Understanding these things can help people to be more tolerant and understanding of others. All right.
And of course, we're making, bringing back certain cultures in the metaverse. Hip hop in its golden era as a hip hop metaverse. New York City.
Welcome to the hip hop metaverse.
This is Brooklyn, where you can scale the entire environment, and each person that you walk up to has a unique personality. We talked about stadiums, bringing live to scale, one-to-one scales of stadiums and sports arenas in these environments. This is Hard Rock down in Miami. And then one of the things that we did in Portugal was recreating culturally preserved environment. Like this is a 700-year-old church that we recreated in this environment where you can actually go in and interact with things that maybe you are not allowed to touch in real life, right? Because they're delicate or they're old. They might not even let you in this building in real life, but in these environments you can. So there's so much untapped potential. And then speak with the people that are there, that are digital humans that possess the history, the whole historical knowledge and chronology of these environments.
It's so funny because Facebook was creating a while back, these megaverse churches in the metaverse. So mega churches in the metaverse. So that's a great way because people connect on that, right, across the globe. It's amazing. And they have a 2 billion person reach, I think daily, right? So no religion can even claim that. So it's amazing. So they're going to be one aspect. That's one name. I don't want that to take over the entire thing. It's going to be quite a few people, quite a few groups and entrants into this space that will be doing it. But like bring it all together. Like let's say we took that Travis Scott, he did the Fortnite thing. So we've been getting pitched a lot. Hey, our artists that want to do these shows, like you brought up LT, Lawrence Taylor from the Giants, who did some wonderful things in the league. He was amazing to watch. And so can't be everywhere at once. So that's one thing. So what if you could do these shows? Hey, we spoke with artists. We did a show in London tonight. I can't get to New York City, by tomorrow night. I'm physically exhausted after so many shows, but I can have the CLAIRA or whatever this avatar or something show up and we can do a concert that way. So you can double, triple, maybe sometimes the revenue expense, the revenue opportunities.
And to be honest, what would you rather? Would you rather pay $1,000 for nosebleed seats or pay half that or a fraction of that and pick any view that you want in the stadium, right? Front row, backstage, side view, or cinematic where you're hovering, you're almost like a drone. You have a drone view where you can kind of just explore the entire environment from any vantage point.
Yeah. Oh, Peter, I think this is someone from one of my students. All right, this is great. Said, hey, did you see what they do at the NBA? How would you kind of elaborate on that? They had a model shot, I think, right? Adam Silver created an avatar of him and he put him in the NBA 2K. Excuse me. I think it was one of the basketball games. I saw the kind of a clip of it. And he had him just kind of take over a player and he was playing as one of the players and with his physical appearance put on that person. Are you playing in that space at all? Because I know athletes, look, everything you showed us, audience, you can see this is what just wowed us over. I had 20 venture folks look at this to screen this product to get into that NAMIC startup showcase with our portfolio company. So this is why the things he just showed you, hip hop's a big year for you right now. I know you're doing a lot in that space as well. 50th anniversary. Anything to do with that NBA? Was that yours? The NBA thing that Adam Silver did? Okay. What are you looking at in that space? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Same, like if the NBA is interested in creating any fan experiences, that's easy for us. But I think there's someone on our team that was the sports and analytics data scientist for the Milwaukee Bucks when they won their title. His name is Christian Wright. He's amazing. He knows data science for sports, and we can create virtual coaches that can help players and even serve as a coaching tool, right, in game, right? Like you're entering information, you're asking the chatbot information of like, all right, we're playing a game, I'm seeing this defense, what do I do, right? And asking the AI on the spot for that real-time information. They're playing small ball right now, they have this lineup, or our guy is injured, what's the best plan of action to follow up with? Like these are like real-time insights that you can get from AI, not only for entertainment, for fan experiences, but for actual like coaching in-game experiences as well, and strategy.
Yeah, no, I know Dan Gilbert was behind one company a buddy of mine founded, and then he runs his venture group now that it's basically they created like Moneyball for baseball, he did for basketball, and they adopted it. It went to colleges first, and then that was Courtside Ventures. They were behind that. So amazing. So you tell us, we can keep going here. You tell us, audience, you have great questions coming in. We
should take a couple more before we wrap. I don't want to jip all these.
Yeah, somebody had Sofia Delgado. I think I know her. What's in your mind? What's an end result for this? What you're doing with CLAIRA? Like what 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Give us what you're thinking. Big picture.
I do want a community version of her that is released to the public. I would love to see. We've had conversations where she's part of the 311 system, for those of you who are in New York, where, she is on a kiosk in the city. And if you're having problems, in your community, that you can speak to CLAIRA to get that support and those resources, instantly, and know exactly what to do, and be multilingual to support multiple, communities. She can be used in schools to help educate folks on AI. And also, she's her own persona. So I want to see more media opportunities for her. I would love for her to be in like Black Panther 3, where like she's her own AI. And we see, like, I think the AI that was in Black Panther 2 the voice was played by Trevor Noah, right? So that's still a human actor playing an AI. But at this point, the AI can play itself in a movie, right? So we'd love to see her get a movie role, maybe become a character in a video game, and she's a lead actor in a video game. So from an entertainment standpoint, there's a lot of opportunities for CLAIRA that I would love to see happen. And even a CLAIRA doll. Would love to see young girls of color have their own CLAIRA doll that they can speak to nonstop, and be inspired by her, but also carry her around.
Nice. There's been a lot of hype cycles in these new emerging technologies, right? And a lot of them work, a lot of them don't. We've seen kind of right now, crypto's muted, metaverse is somewhat muted for now. These things will kind of come up, as we said. I think the top 2 to 3% will rise and kind of take shape in a nice ecosystem in a way. Mobile, cloud, social, these are hype cycles that have worked, that have become big industry, right? So in Web3 and crypto, they're kind of muted in VR. This one I can see there's a hype cycle around this space right now, and I can see this becoming something. And then we're just talking about many use cases, but within one lane, right? As far as this, there's so many use cases that you could be utilizing in your professional worlds with AI, interactive, regenerative kind of dialogue, and asking it to do tasks. Can you imagine? I think in our class we discussed a couple of weeks ago, you have all your, hey, this is simple. I have all my pictures in Google Cloud. Hey, we went to LA a couple months ago. Take all the pictures of my son wearing this shirt, put them all in this folder, and have him doing this. Those are simple tasks you can ask. That you better guarantee that Google and Microsoft are coming to do these things for us, to make our lives a little more efficient and more productive and better. And just imagine what Microsoft will now finally make being a viable option, because it's not great. I'm just gonna, to be PC, NAMIC, I'm being nice to your audience. That's not a great experience compared to Google search right now. And Google has 50-60% of the market. Bing has about 5-6. So there's room for them to grow and capture market. Let's see. We're going to be the benefits of, we will benefit from all of this kind of interaction between the companies trying to develop relationships with us, the consumer. Anything you want to part on here and leave with the audience? You had a great quote, and I'm trying to find it. In one of you said something great about how you're trying to help people with it. Oh, she's real, right? That's not clear, right?
I was gonna say,
in
addition to making digital humans, I make real humans too.
Real humans, she's beautiful.
4 of them at home.
Hey, cutie.
And this one snuck in.
Cutie.
So yeah, no, perfect timing. This is little Alessia.
Hi, cutie.
But they got to meet CLAIRA, and they get to speak with the AI and make AI art. So there is a lot of potential. I am not a coder by trade. As you can tell, I'm more of a communicator, I'm more of an educator, and a creative and an artist. When I mentioned the ambassadors, right? Those 7 ambassadors, most of them are painters, are creators of music, and they're the ones that are the best in the world with AI. So think about that, right? It's not, oh, I don't know ones and zeros, I don't know Python, I don't know React, I don't know how to code. It's too late for me because I'm in my 50s or 60s. I'm not going to learn how to code now just so I can use AI. So now what's changed is that you just got to know how to talk. You got to learn how to speak with the technology and communicate to it and articulate what you want for it to come out as an output.
And one thing you can see in these large companies, hey, if they're going to start adopting this for their, to help to reach their consumer, to develop some sort of relationship to enhance that experience, be the person that you're in your company that can actually help implement this with everything else you're doing already. Because if you're going to make yourself so productive that, with this feature and, BuzzFeed, we know what they're trying to do there. Be the person at your company that is well versed in this and how to get it to do what your company wants it to do. You can be indispensable, right? We're all farmers.
When we talk to enterprise now, they're like, can you help us do this? Not only to sound like our company, to speak in our tone and know about our products and our brand, but can you help us do this the right way? Because we don't want to end up with egg in our face. So making sure that the outputs are equitable and biased, and that there's safe guardrails there so that it's not forced to do something that it wasn't intended to do. And that's where, like, out the box, I would say with caution, but, you know, working with companies like mine and others that know how to do this stuff, to customize it and put in those guardrails, is where you can do it the right way for your customers, because you don't want to end up doing something, put something in front of a customer that, you know, is going to hurt them in the long run.
Abran, big fan of everything you're doing. Appreciate your time. This is amazing. Thank you so much. And let's get Anne-Marie or Susan back on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Abran, this was phenomenal. I know we had a few more questions that we didn't get to, but I want to promise everyone who was on the call that we'll make sure we get those answered and email them to everybody. This call was
message me on LinkedIn, or we can continue the thread on LinkedIn too. I'm happy to answer the questions in the comments there as well.
Excellent. Atul, fantastic. This is why you're a master at this. We are so thrilled to continue partnering with you in this space. We are so thankful for your expertise and continuing just pushing us to really be innovative and to really think tech and how it can create solutions for a very fast changing industry, if I may say so, right? And then I want to thank everybody who participated. It was such an honor to have you all here. Save the date, March 7th. We'll be coming back to you with another webinar on making an inclusive workplace. We all know that we've been talking about diversity and equity, and now we're really going to hone in on inclusiveness. You should get an email from us either today or tomorrow about this webinar. We hope that you will register and continue the conversation. And Abran, I just love your daughter. She's so cute. For really bringing it home. Like, this is what sometimes working from home really looks like. And I really appreciate that.
Yes.
To everyone, and to Susan, our fantastic producer who makes these wonderful webinars possible, we want to say thank you from NAMIC and see you on March 7th. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.